I would like to start today by thanking each and every one of you for supporting the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the feminists and social activists who have shaped our society in the ways in which we benefit today. We have inherited the fruits of their hard labor, and we have the bounty, the benefit, and responsibility. As a symbol of our gender imbalance, 19 years ago, we lost the lives of 14 women to the actions of a mass murderer, Marc Lépine, who took it upon himself to try to scare women back into the traditional roles. In the late afternoon of December 6, 1989, on the last day of classes, just like today, Marc Lépine armed himself with a semi-automatic rifle. He entered an engineering classroom at École Polytechnique in Montreal. He got the classroom's attention by firing 2 shots in the air. He then ordered the men to leave and ordered the women to line up against the wall. He screamed, "You're a bunch of feminists. I hate feminists." And as if speaking on behalf of the males, "I'm fighting feminism." He opened fire on the women and killed 6 of them. He then proceeded to the cafeteria and other classrooms on the rampage, where he killed 8 more women and wounded 13 other women and men. Of the 14 women massacred in this 20-minute rampage, 1 was a nursing student, 1 was a university clerk in the finance department, and 12 were engineering students. The detailed accounts of this horrific and brutal massacre, the worst in Canadian history, are gut-wrenching, and the social implications of hatred towards women for attempting to reach their potential is an unfortunate legacy for the entire human race. When facing such a tragedy, we ask why. Marc Lépine made sure we knew the answer. In his suicide note, he clearly stated his hatred for feminists. He had planned this attack because, in his view, feminists have repeatedly ruined his life by wanting to keep the advantages of women while seizing the advantages of men. The advantages of women he cited in his letter were cheaper insurance and extended maternity leave. In my experience, the word feminism invokes fear and implies the anger of women, whereas I believe that feminists should be seen as a group of people who labor towards the equality of the sexes in the political, economic, and social domains. We should all be grateful for their efforts and join them in this cause. December 6, 1989 marks a terrifying day in Canadian history. 14 women were punished and killed because the dreams, the careers, and the studies they pursued were non-traditional, and this made them a threat. When planning this attack, Marc Lépine carefully chose to target an engineering school, but not a medical school, not a law school, and not a humanities or social science school. He specifically chose an engineering school because this is where women are still forging the path and resistance abounds. He explained that he was planning this attack because he viewed any woman in a non-traditional role to be denying himself and other men their rightful opportunities. It is still true that today many men view the efforts to support women's progress towards gender equality and in non-traditional roles as a threat to their economic prosperity. We must, however, be diligent not to paint all men with the same brush. There are men in this audience, this university, and all around us who will labor diligently for the equality of the sexes and the emancipation of women. My message to these men is, let your voices be heard. Let's remove the silence of support. Let's all work shoulder to shoulder to eradicate all barriers against women. You will benefit from having a society where the rights of all human beings are respected. For those of us who enjoy privileges in this society, we must remember that the boundaries of privilege are permeable and that none of us are immune. It only takes an accident, a shift in economic power, a shift in political power, or emerging caregiving responsibilities for any of us to experience a shift in the privileges we once enjoyed. And we must be aware that it is in the context of our gender, of our health, and of the family and society in which we are born that we all automatically fall into categories of privilege or lack thereof. So when you look at the dismal proportion of women in engineering, do not question women's ability to succeed in mathematics and physics, but rather consider these factors: that caregiving responsibilities still fall vastly on women, that the media does not portray the connection between engineering and the quality of human life, that economic pressures along with a 6-course workload are not conducive to holding a part-time job, and that our society discourages women from entering engineering because math is difficult, and that in engineering, respect and recognition are highly merit-based. So do not question women's ability. Instead, provide them with role models, opportunities, and pragmatic support. While systemic changes are underway here at the University of Victoria and in other engineering schools, a shift in balancing the expectation of women's privileges and responsibility must also take place in our homes, our places of work, and in our society. In closing, as we prepare ourselves to observe a moment of silence, to silently honor the lives of 14 women who were massacred 19 years ago, I would also like us to think of the impact of this massacre on the survivors of December 6, 1989, who were shaken, and how their dreams, careers, and lives have been affected. As we take on this task, let's also take the time to recognize our privileges or where we lack them, and find ways to contribute to a society where privilege and responsibility are fairly distributed for all people. Thank you.